Oh, yo, so I do got story time?
Oh,
Alright,
what's
go
the
for
story
it.
time that's on the chat?
Alright, it's juicy.
Alright, remember, no any's.
Alright, look, so what happened was, I was at work, right? I went in at 1:30. After a couple minutes, right? Now, if you guys recall... Shit, my fucking game volume's too loud. Hold on, let me change settings in the mix-up. Alright, if you guys recall, I told you guys about a previous conquest I had, right? Now, if you guys also recall, I said I was gonna stop because I found out something. You know? So I was like, alright. I was like, I'm gonna put that to the side, forget about it, whatever, right? And today, like, I completely forgot that she worked there. So I was like, I walked into the store. What the fuck was I doing? I was walking around for like a little bit, you know, for like the beginning of my shift, just walking around, not doing shit, you know, just chilling. And so I walked by like the, like our car parts, you know, like our car stereos and stuff. And she walks by, and then she's like, "Oh hey," and I was like, "Hey, what's up?" You know, just started talking right then and there. And I was like, "Hey, so like how's work, whatever, you know, like how is it over here in appliances, whatever, you know?" And she's like, "Oh, it's pretty boring, like it's dead and this and that." And I'm like, "Oh, that sucks, you know?" And then she's like, and then I'm like, "Is that how it is in general, or like that's just today?" She's like, "Nah, in general it's like kind of slow, you know, and this and that." And I was like, "Oh, alright, you know, cool." I was like, "Yeah, you know, like damn, that sucks, whatever, right?" And then I forgot what else we started talking about, but then like she was done doing, like, she was just putting like tags on, like, or like little like notifications on the refrigerators. And so she was walking back towards her department, and I was walking the same way because I was gonna go to the other side of the store. And she's like she like inhales, right? And she's like, "Dude, I like your cologne, like it smells really good. Classy, you're classy, huh? It smells real classy." And I was just like, "Oh, thanks," you know. I was like, you know, like trying to be funny, you know. I was like, you know, I try a little bit, you know. Whatever's, you know, just to like get her to giggle or whatever, you know.
True, you do try.
Shut your.
It's not joking when it's true.
No. But anyways, let me continue my story. So after that, I forgot about that whole interaction, right? Because I went to the desk, and I was covering my homie for like a little bit, and then some shit happened where like I had to kick somebody out of the store, so I had like my other friend cover. My other friend who's like really into her, who's like really trying to get at her, you know? And I had him cover me, and then it's like around 3 something at this point, and she goes to lunch. And then my whole thing was because I have a schedule of every employee that, like, I have the schedule, like the daily, and I can see like when every employee is gonna leave. So I was like, I was going to lunch at 4:30 originally, right? That was my original time to go to lunch. And on the schedule it said that she was off at that time, and I was like, oh, well, that, you know, like I can probably ask her, like, hey, you want to grab a drink after, like, you know, whatever, right? Like after you get off or whatever. But she ended up staying longer. And I didn't know that. So then at like 3:30, she comes over. Hey, freaking cat! Hold on.
Oh,
Get your ass inside. Yeah, like at 3:30, she's going to lunch, and I'm sitting at the desk, right? And then she's like, hey, and I'm like, oh, hey, what's up? And then she's like, she was like, hey, I'm going to Chick-fil-A. Do you want anything? I got you.
What?
And I was like, are you sure? And she's like, yeah, I got you. Don't worry about it. And then I was like, all right. I was like, you should give me a spicy deluxe. And she's like, dude, that's my favorite. And I was like, dude, that thing is fire, you know? Like, and she's like, yeah, I know. And she's like, all right, I'll be back. And then she was gone for like 40 minutes, right? Like, she took an hour lunch. So then, because I told Ricardo, I'm like, bro, so guess who's buying me food? And he's like, who? And like, he couldn't guess it, so I told him, and he's like, nah, bro, you're bullshitting, you know? And I was like, nah, dude, like, real talk, you know, like, it's gonna happen. And he's like, alright, I want to see. And then, she comes back, right? And and she hands me my food. But it was so awkward because the dude who's like really into her was right next to me, and some other dude that I think is like into her too was right there too. And so she comes in, right, and they turn to like say hey to her or whatever, and she like ignores them, comes right in front of me, hands me my bag of food, and I'm like, oh, thank you, you know. And then my other friend, my homie,
They were just
was,
like stuck.
super
and
into
they're
her.
like, what
He looks, yeah, he looks at me and he's like, and then he just taps my shoulder and he's like, so what's going on here? Like, how did this happen? I was like, I don't know, dog. You know, like I really don't know. You know?
Probably fucking mad and shit, dog.
Yo, he was mad because then after like, and then the other dude, he was like, what, Mike? That's all you, bro? What? Let me find out. And I was like, nah, bro, I don't know. Like, you know, I'm like, whatever, you know. And he's like, what? I didn't know you had it like that. And then, yeah, and then I went to go show Ricardo, right? Like, I went to the back of, like, the warehouse.
Yeah.
Like, after. The thing that surprised me, she made sure that my food was hot when she gave it to me. Like, it was, like, fresh, like, just made. And Chick-fil-A is, like, is a busy place, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's packed all the time. And so when she gave me my food, it was, like, bro, it was, like, fresh. Like, it had just been made type of hot, you know? I was like,
Yeah.
alright. And then, you know, like, so I'm walking to the warehouse. And then, like, she was right there because her department's like right before getting to the warehouse. And I was like, hey, you know, like, I didn't get to properly thank you, you know, for the food or whatever because, you know, there's people around, but like, thanks, you know, I really appreciate it. And she's like, oh, no worries, you know. And then, like, right when I was gonna tell her, like, hey, you know what, I got you tomorrow or something, this other dude who's trying to get at her walks by and like, he's like buying something or whatever, and I'm like, fuck, dude, you know, like, shit. Like, my whole approach, right, was to let everybody else go for it, and I just sit back, you know? Because that was my whole approach. Like, I said what's up to her, like, hey, whatever, you know, introduce myself, but then I let it marinate on that, you know? And then afterwards is when, you know, I started to make a move after she realizes, like, okay, why isn't this dude just jumping at me like that, you know? Like, kind of to separate myself from everybody else, you know?
Yeah.
That was my approach. And it's technically working because, like, I was telling Ricardo, because I showed Ricardo, and then he's like, nah, bro, you're bullshitting. And I was like, nah, bro, look, she gave me my food. And then he's like, oh, shit, bro, like, you weren't kidding, you know? And then there's another warehouse guy by the name of Devin. He was there, and then Ricardo was like, hey, bro, so that appliance girl, that's all this guy right here, bro. That's all him, bro. Like, you know, she just brought him food. And he's like, no way, are you serious? I'm like, yeah, bro. Like, he's like, how did this happen? I was like, it's just out of nowhere, bro, you know? Like, this happened. And then so I'm walking back, like, cause I told Ricardo, I'm like, yo, let's go get some beers, you know? I was like, yo, let's go get some beers, cause like I'm trying to, like, after this sandwich, I'm gonna get thirsty, you know? Then I'm walking out.
Mad.
Yo, he should play me.